yes. You are listening to DJ LP on Passion Radio, and guess how I am? I am just fine, and I expect, I trust, I hope, I pray, I believe, I do expect you too to be as fine as me. Absolutely, in every single way, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, whatever day, time, night time, evening time, dinner time, supper time, lunch time, break time, whatever time it is, wherever you are. DJ LP is here in the Passion Radio house. Yeah, yeah. Actually, you know what? I think that deserves a... Yes, 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 absolutely. And guess what? I am not alone. I have been dancing with somebody who is also just fine. Yeah. And this Zoom, this interview today is being recorded. And my dear guest today is on Zoom, and the two of us have just been bubbling away about how fine we are, talking about how fine we are. We're going to be speaking to a very special Smuddy. Now, let me tell you, right? Let me tell you just how special this Smuddy is, okay? And take it easy, like go easy on me, because there's a whole heap here, yeah? This is a Smuddy. This is a somebody that I am, I can only say blessed to know, blessed to have in my personal life as well as my public life. Okay, this is a consultant, an EDIA, which stands for Equity, Diversity, Inclusion, Access, facilitator and trainer. We are speaking to an advocate of change from equality to real personalized equity. We're going to find out what the difference is between equality and equity in this conversation today. We are speaking to an education practice improvement consultant. Yeah? An education practice improvement consultant, a conference and strategic international events speaker, a mental health first aider, an advocate, okay, an executive business coach. Tell you, like, this is big things, yeah. We're just big things today, okay. We're speaking to somebody who is a personal advisor, providing IASG with a demonstrated history of working in government, local council, management, education, teaching, training, and facilitating social care and mental health sector. So all within the social care and mental health sector. Our speaker today is bringing it all. He is a skilled person in coaching. He is skilled when it comes to dealing with the government, the young people, youth and community work, okay, and event management. Our guest today is a host. He has had his own radio show in the past because he is that good. And he is coming back again with a new radio show in the near future, okay? He hosts strong entrepreneurship. Okay, so he encourages people like me who describe themselves as entrepreneurs to be the best that we possibly can. This is a professional who graduated from the University of Studies, academia, as well as the University of Life. And my guest today, I'm gonna speak in his words. He says, and I quote, "I just want to see individuals, groups and communities win and be the best that they can be. Seeing mindsets, laws, systems, policies and procedures open to all, which supports people and enables them to have and express their voice so that they can be and do their best." Our guest speaker today has a number of hidden disabilities and learning difficulties. They, he describes, are part of his superpowers. He is quite the balanced dichotomy, apparently, and he is an enigma in a well-spoken and presented conundrum. A gentle blast of effervescent but change energy, direct change energy. Our guest today is an introvert extrovert that is a naturally multi-talented creative. He is he is the dogs. He is the absolute. My belief, in his own words, is to be my mantra is to be both highly professional and personable, one who works consistently and with innovation in recognizing the challenge, providing the solution, and creating the change. Furthermore, and most importantly, our guest today shares a grandmother with me, the great Ivy Duncan. And that is what makes us so beautiful. That and so much more. I want to present to you my cousin, my twin, my brother, my favorite male in the whole world until I find a man of my own. And just my absolute favorite, Marcus Morgan Valentine. Mr. Valentine, well, hold on. I think I've got something for you. Let me see if I can. I can't do this. I know that there's a round of applause somewhere here that you deserve. Somewhere. I can't find it. I'm not even going to try. All right. I'm just going to say welcome. It is
Thank
my
you.
pleasure to have you on the show with us today. Long time
Thank
coming,
you.
but not too late. One.
Thank you. Yeah, everything is good, man. Goodness, after you've introduced me that way, I'm not sure if I can even stand in my own shadow. Goodness, but I think it's important that we make sure that we sound our trumpets and sound the alarms for the greatness that's within us and also surrounds us on who it is that we are. I'm excited to be here, and it's so good. You're my family, you're my friend, and you're absolutely my twin. I love you to the bone. Absolutely. And thank you for allowing me to be here. It's great. I haven't been on radio for ages. I used to do my own show called Radical for Real on a radio show called Love 316, and I did it for a number of months and years actually until I moved on to do other things. So it's great to be back on radio again. So thank you. And
Beautiful.
welcome to all the listeners. It's great to have you all here.
It
And I'm
is.
so pleased to be part of a great community of people. We are the global majority, us lovely black and brown people and everyone else in between.
That's it. Absolutely. And from us, you get every complexion, don't you?
Come on now.
Yeah, man.
A bit like the color of my top today. For those that can see it, I've got a lovely Ghanaian top on today. And I just wanted to represent just a little bit more because that's part of where our family are from.
Beautiful. Okay. So I have introduced you. I have told everybody who you are. But
Mm,
Marcus, who are you? Who are you?
that's a great question. Well, I'm 46 years old. My father is from South America. My mother's from Jamaica.
Hey.
I am a black man. For those that have got various different needs, so I think it's important just to say I've got long black locks, dark skin with a kind of a rough light beard, if you like. And you can't see that, but I'm actually 6'4", and I'm a big dude as well. And also around my neck, I've got some of the things I'll be talking about a bit later. So I've got my freedom pass, and I've
Mhm.
also got a lovely, amazing tool that I use, which I'll talk about a bit more later, which is my hidden disabilities lanyard, which actually says that I have several hidden disabilities. And at the back of that, it's got my picture and information about some of the disabilities and stuff or some needs I have, which I wear every time I leave the house. So
Right.
if anything happens to me, people can identify and actually support me in the way I need to be supported. Because I've actually got 13 hidden disabilities.
13. You've got 13.
13.
Right.
13.
So first of all, let me say, your introduction, you have done so much. You are a very, very busy and dynamic person.
Definitely.
How do you balance all of that? The coaching, the advocating,
Hmm.
the executive work,
Yep.
everything that you do. How do you balance that with 13 hidden disabilities?
Well, that's the superpower because one of my disabilities, and actually not just disabilities, also I must say I've got a learning disability or difficulty, which is dyslexia. And mine manifests in memory processing speed, which simply means if you tell me something now, so just to remind you, if you ask me a question, just ask me one at a time, because you ask me a few, I won't remember one of them. I just won't even
Okay.
remember it at all. But that also means that I've got an incredible long-term memory. So I'm able to remember amazing details in regards to laws and in regards to things that happen and information and detail. So it helps me to do a lot of things that other people sometimes will find quite challenging.
Yeah.
So that's the learning difficulty side of thing. But in regard to the disabilities, the hidden disabilities, I've got a number of them. I told you there's 13. Three of them are actually mental health ones, and I'll talk about that a bit later. But some of the main ones which really affect me is the narcolepsy and the cataplexy, alongside some others. And there's like osteomalacia, and there's another one which is called chronic. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. I've got reoccurring chronic costochondritis as well. I've got IBS, which a lot of you would have heard a lot about. I've got other ones as well, which just goes on and on and on.
Wow. Okay. And I know as well that you've got acronyms. We have a member of the family who also has IBS, and I
Yeah.
told her she needs to change that acronym. So now it's IB sexy, IB
Yep. I'd be
super,
sweet. I'd
IB
be
sweet,
super. I know. I'd be
absolutely,
spiritual.
IB
I'd be
spirit.
super. I'd be amazing.
So what acronym do you use for your diseases? They're not diseases, are
No,
they?
they're disabilities. And what
Yeah.
I do is the word dis, I use an acronym to say dangerously inclusive and
Hmm,
sociable. So I
lovely.
like to make sure that everyone's clear that my disability is an acronym. The dis there is dangerously inclusive and sociable.
Wow. Okay.
And I think that's important that we have that, because I think until we socialize more and be a community as we originally should be, and that's not just in regards to being black and brown, but whoever you are, anyone with disabilities, whoever you are, and that you make sure and become that whole community together. And if we share the knowledge we have and the information, then we can actually create change as whole communities of disability, whole communities in regards to hidden disabilities, and whole communities in regards to those that have additional needs, whether that's special educational needs or whatever that might be. And often a lot of people don't have a clue. And particularly talking about black and brown people, they often don't have the right sort of attitude towards what's going on, because people are scared. People are
Yeah.
frightened to share the things that makes them different, the things that makes them not quite like others. And particularly when we think about the places of work, I know for me it's been quite difficult in some of them because they haven't accepted it. Particularly with the hidden disabilities, they look at me and say, "You look well-bodied, you sound very eloquent, you speak very well, you're educated." You know, I've been to university twice, and I've got my level 4, my level 6, and various other things. You know what I mean? So people often think, what's the matter with you? You look fine. But if they see me in an incident or they see me having an attack, then they get quite scared, because it's actually quite scary to see.
Right. Okay.
Particularly the narcolepsy. The osteomalacia was a bit different. Just to let you know a bit about that. Osteomalacia for me often happens for a lot of people who are much older than me. As I said, I'm 46. But osteomalacia simply means that my bones can bend, break, snap at any time. And because I'm a big guy and I have falls, you can imagine how that makes life difficult just in regards to that alone. So yes,
Wow. Okay. Even though I know you,
yeah,
I'm always blown away by just hearing, you know, what you put up with, what you're dealing with on a personal
every
level.
day. Every
Every
day I wake up in the morning, I'm so thankful.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. I'm very, very thankful for life, first of all, and the fact that although I have, carer support, and although I have lots of family support, which is amazing, and thank you for my family. I love you so much, in the community I'm part of and where I live as well. Most of the people around here will know about my disabilities, and there's a couple of people that are able to help me because they know what those things are. So I've got access to different things. I mean, you've been to my home, you've seen it.
Yeah.
I've got various different things in my bathroom. I've got a special watch that I wear on my wrist to make sure in case I have a fall.
Mm,
I've got special seating to get me up and down out of seats, because sometimes my knees just don't work as they're supposed to. My
mm,
back doesn't connect the way it should either. And I've got to be careful in case I try to get up, if I get up too fast or have any strong emotions. That's the cataplexy side of things. It means that I can collapse to the ground. I literally have muscle wastage in my legs and I collapse to the floor. And at that time, I can feel, I can hear, but I can't see because my eyes will be closed. And I can look like I'm having a stroke. So sometimes people think that's what it is. And
mm.
then attached to that is also the costochondritis, which simply means if I have any stressful experience or if I'm in the cold, my body literally feels like it's seizing up. So the muscles around my sternum expand, and it means it feels like I'm having a minor heart attack. So I can feel like I'm having a minor heart attack whilst looking like I'm having a stroke. If people see me, they'll think that I'm having a stroke for real, but I'm not. And so they could treat me for that and not realize that can exacerbate my situation even more. So hence why I wear, for those that can see the cards and stuff, but those who haven't, you can go to Hidden Disability Sunflower, the website, and get information about that because they're absolutely fantastic. And I'm an ambassador for them. I'm one of the Sunflower friends. So I'm going to be doing various different things. I'm doing some training for the police. This will be happening in about a month or two to
Yay.
actually tell them all about what's going on for people like myself.
Yeah.
I also make sure to tell other people to get other things like access cards, which are really good. So if you're going to certain venues, for example, you can sign up for an access card, you pay for that. I can't remember exactly the price. I think it's £15 for like 3 months or so. And then
Yeah.
once you've done that, then you can actually have that. So you don't have to walk around with your stuff to show evidence of your hidden disabilities or whatever you have,
Yes.
but people can actually support you so they can see what your needs are and they can actually make sure that you go to the front of queues. Because
Yes.
for people like me, I can't stand for long.
Yeah.
So if I'm
Yeah.
standing for too long, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Often that can exacerbate things. If I'm in the cold, for example, waiting to go in the queue, if it's too long, I just need to get to the front or just need to leave, quite simply. So
Right.
I got a special, I've got things like this particular system, which is for you to have a taxi card, which means you pay less for your taxi, but they're
Right.
able to come and pick me up because you see my place where I live as well. Even my front door, I've got a button I press to get in and get out of my front door because I can't open it.
Wow.
So it's a lot of things. Even for me to open a tin, I mean, you've seen the little machines I've got inside my home that I use to open up things, and little mats I put on the side to make sure things don't slide off the sides, and all those different things. There's a lot of things that I've needed, but particularly when people have seen me, as I've said, they've just not believed that I have these needs at all. So that's why things like the hidden disability stuff I've made sure got on various others. As you see,
Okay.
I've even got my freedom pass. I put it on particularly so you can see it,
Thank
because it really has
you.
helped me. Yeah.
Oh,
So for those able to see that, you can see that I've got the freedom pass. But those who haven't seen it before, it's something that helps you to be able to have travel where you're not paying for it. Because obviously, for people like myself, people don't realize if you've got disabilities, you pay a lot more for everything. So
yeah.
usually they said per month actually you can pay up to £600 more to £900 more than everybody else would in a normal situation. So you can just jump in a bus or jump onto the train. I have to really plan every single journey that I do,
Mm,
or contact them, and I sit in a particular space
yeah.
so they can, if anything happens, they can know. On my phone, I've got a particular. I love iPhones. If you've got a disability, you can get iPhone. It's the way forward. Trust me, it really
Okay.
helps because it's easy to be able to navigate through and be able to move forward with. So there's
Yeah.
so many things that have happened in regards to my life that I've had to adjust and make adjustments, and at the workplace I had to fight for adjustments.
Okay. So
um
hold on, hold on, hold on. Let me just slow you down because you've not always had everything that you've got now, have you?
no, I haven't at all, not at all.
Right. So
So
can
I've
you
had to
take
fight
us to
for
the
it.
beginning and just kind of explain what life was like before the diagnosis is?
Yeah,
And, you
certainly,
know, yeah, take us on that
certainly.
journey. Yeah.
So I mean, I was born and bouncing 7.7 pound child, it's great. And all the rest of it. But as I continued on in life, my parents started to realize that something was a bit different about me.
Mm,
So back home in Jamaica, they have something which is called dropsy. It just means you just fall asleep all the time, at any time. And even to get me to get to sleep was quite difficult. And then when I was, it's hard to get me back out of sleep, for example. So my mother, for example, would clap 3 times to get me to wake up.
okay.
She would touch on my shoulder in a particular way, and that's the way she was able to try to alert me to wake me up a bit more. Because I was actually diagnosed with the narcolepsy and cataplexy to 2010, and I'm born in 1977. So
Wow.
we're talking about a long time before my actual diagnosis in regards to that. So it was tough as a child because I was always, the big kid that always falls asleep. So that was
Yeah.
the joke that people used to have, and didn't realize actually that I had a neurological disorder, which was real. And they believe it could be because of trauma I've had in the past, because I had a number of childhood experiences that was quite adverse indeed. And that wasn't just about where I lived and things like that. It was the fact I was bullied as a child. I've been sexually abused when I was younger as well. A lot of things have happened in my life that has meant that I'm now in the trajectory that I presently am on. So it was tough as a child. But because I was quite jovial and I could laugh and I was quite skilled, you know, I could sing, so I would always be singing my way through things and laughing about things. And I'm quite effervescent, quite bright and bubbly all the time.
Yeah.
So people always saw me as the great guy to have around. He might fall asleep, but apart from that, he's cool.
Okay.
So my raving days, I would rave and I'd be falling asleep in the middle of the rave. I could stand up and be sleeping, literally, or
Yeah.
fall and sleep. That's another
Yeah.
story. But they just thought I was drunk, and I wasn't even having a drink. I wasn't a drinker at all. So yeah, it's been a tough journey, but thankfully for my family, they've been on that transition with me. But it was tough as a child. I
Mhm.
didn't know what was going on with me. I didn't know about narcolepsy and cataplexy
Yeah.
and all this
Yeah.
stuff. And I will do a big shout as well. Big shout out for Narcolepsy UK, who's really helped me after I got involved with them and really understood more about what these neurological issues were and how they affected me every day. So even
Wow.
me being a big guy when I was younger, I wasn't that big, but I suddenly became putting on weight just like that. I didn't know what it was. I
Yeah.
didn't realize that was part of the narcolepsy and part
Yeah.
of the cataplexy, that you forage, particularly in your sleep. So literally, I night eat, a night sleep, a night walk. Alongside having incredibly strange and vivid dreams, which was really quite scary. Good thing I liked horror, so afterwards I'd laugh about it. But at the time, as a child, it was really tough, and people
Yeah.
didn't understand Why is it, Marcus? You cut me so much. You're so fun. You're so lovely and excitable, but also you fall asleep or collapse on the floor. We don't know why. It's a
Yeah.
bit strange. So it was tough being able to navigate that. And the reality, of course, I'm a black man, and we know that that comes with various different things too. There's a
Yeah.
sense that we should just be strong and powerful. And because I'm a big black guy, 6'4", when I got older, I got quite tall very quick. I also
Right.
had something called growing pains as a child,
Mm.
which meant that in one day I grew 2 inches. So literally my trousers were like halfway. It was crazy. My
Right.
friends used to say, "Looks like you're expecting rain." And literally like 2 weeks later, another 2 inches. So I had this growing pains in my knees, pains in my back. So I was consistently experiencing pain. And what people don't realize, because the amount of medication I take as well, I am consistently in pain. So I'm talking to you now, I'm not feeling any pain, but that's because I've taken medication to be able to wear that off.
Right.
And quite
Okay.
strong medication indeed, actually.
Gosh, yeah. I
So, they
suppose.
just see you, they don't know.
Yeah, that's it. You see people and you never know, do you, what's
You
going on in
don't.
their lives? And we had a conversation once, and it kind of manifested in the conversation that with all the trauma and everything that you've been through,
Mm.
it manifests for you through the physical, and for other people, it may manifest through the
The
mental, the
mental. Yep.
emotional.
And
Yeah.
that's the complex PTSD, which I wasn't actually diagnosed with until 2019. And
Wow.
I tried to get my own private mental health practitioner to do that, because when I went through the CAMS process, it was tougher. They just couldn't understand, the fact I had all these things, how even managing to be able to manage life, and they
Yeah.
couldn't understand my buoyancy. So because my complex PTSD did not manifest like other people, most people it manifests in regards to their mental health and how it is that they mentally engage with the world,
Mm.
and how it is they mentally just engage with life itself. But I was just so happy and go lucky and bouncing, and everything's lovely. They didn't realize that there was, it's only now actually that they've done a lot of studies around that, around the fact how CPTSD can manifest physiologically
Yeah.
rather than psychologically. So I
Right.
don't have that massive bouts of depression or any of that sort of stuff that a lot of people do experience with the complex PTSD at all. I just literally, my body just gets very sick.
Yeah.
Literally, so my body interprets the trauma, and I guess it's also because they found loads of cortisol consistently going through my body because I'm constantly in pain.
Mm.
They realized that that also was going to have effect in regards to my hormonal experience and response to things too. So it's been tough. It's been tough, and the journey has been a long journey and consistently continues. And that's why I do what I do. I advocate for other people because people don't realize that if we don't get the help that we can get, and I'm very fortunate, really, really thankful as well. I've got fantastic doctors. And
Right.
my doctor is someone that I can email at any time and actually say
Mm.
what's going on, and he responds because he knows how serious my needs are, and that I was able to afford at the time, and a lot of people can't, to afford a mental health practitioner. Shout out to Caroline Joseph Carty, bless you. You've been such a star. I love Caroline. But there's so many things that I was able to access through my family and getting that support, and through my great relationship with my doctors. But a lot of people don't have that.
Yeah.
Some people, you wait for a doctor and you don't see them until like a month later sometimes for an appointment. But I can get emergency appointments because how serious my case is. And also, a lot of people don't trust those clinicians. They don't trust the GP.
Yeah.
And I had to go through the process of doing that so I can get a lot of the things I have for them to refer me on to the different specialists, for me to go to the sleep clinics and all those different places to get the help that I've received so far.
Wow.
And
Okay.
also get with the charities as well, like Narcolepsy UK, like there are charities like Hidden Disabilities,
Yeah.
Sunflower, and they're great process. There's great stuff they do over there, which has helped me no end.
Okay. Predominantly in our communities, that
Hmm.
being the African, although I refer to Africa as Alkebulan, the continent, but
Mm,
African, Caribbean, Black,
hmm.
British people of the diaspora,
Yeah,
typically and traditionally, we don't reach out to these services.
no
We don't
way.
know anything about these services. Why is that?
I think the issue we've had in the past is that a lot of the people, as in the GPs that we experience, don't have enough time to hear our stories. Our stories are a lot longer than others,
Yeah,
quite a lot more deep rooted, unfortunately, than some others, I
yeah,
mean, they're having to deal with things like the fact if you look at my case, I'm falling asleep everywhere, but you're overweight, Marcus. You probably got diabetes. You probably got this. I don't have diabetes. I don't have
yeah,
cholesterol. I don't,
yeah,
thankfully. I don't have the usual things that they would associate with me. I just don't have them. But the ones I have do, they're neurological. That's a very different story. And who wants to know that your brain isn't quite working correctly? Who's going to know that I don't produce hypercretin? And
yeah,
hypercretin is the hormone that keeps us and experiences wakefulness every day. So without going through those tests, without having the articulation that I'm very grateful to have, through my parents and education and community I'm part of,
mm,
if you don't have that articulation, you don't have that language, you
mm,
haven't done the logs to see what's happening in regards to your eating and all those different things. If you haven't done that, and our people often don't do that,
yeah,
we don't look at our diet, we don't look at the patterns we have in our lives, we don't necessarily check to see what's happened hereditary, and also in our families, we don't tell each other what happened. We don't
yeah,
share with each other and say, this is in your family, that's in your family. The fact that
yeah,
I'm neurodiverse, you know what I mean? That's not a language we even have. We don't have a word like neurodiverse in Jamaica or South America.
yeah,
That's not a word we have. It's not
yeah,
there. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? We're just different. And
mm,
you're not the same like the rest of we. You know what I mean? Which means I'm not the same like everybody else. And
yeah,
that's the difference there. And I think until more of us come forward and talk, then others will never know the true story. But as I said, I've been very fortunate. I've been fortunate to be raised by parents that are very much about being articulate and going and getting the help and support that you need, whatever that might be. But
yeah.
that's not always something that a lot of people welcome. But we're fortunate. I've had the same doctor. Literally, it was the father and then his son literally. Do
Oh,
you know what I mean? I've had the
wow.
same one all this time. But a lot of
Okay.
people don't have the same doctors. We see different people. So
Yeah,
there's no
yeah,
relationship that's built. And if there's no, our people want relationship. We
yeah,
want rapport. And
yeah,
that's what helps us to feel more comfortable. So I go to the Black men's meetings. I go to the global majority meetings. I go to them and talk about myself a lot. Um, and they're like, Marcus, you always talk up everything. I said, because if I don't, other people can't get the support. And
yeah,
then people come and see me secretly, literally call me and message me. And I get messages all the time. Marcus, can you help us with this? This is going on in my family. This is going on with our children,
yeah,
and it's difficult. I mean,
yeah.
dyslexia was never something we spoke about before. It
Mm,
just meant that you're dunce. You don't know what you're doing. But my
that's it.
reading is brilliant, but I just can't remember anything. So my mum would literally, as a child, she'd say, "All right, go upstairs, and if you look on the left-hand side of the cupboard, if you can get me the blue thing in the blue bottle." Please note, I'll go upstairs and forget it was the left-hand side where I'm supposed to look and the blue bottle. I'll come back downstairs again, asking the same question.
Yeah,
So then it would just irate them, but they
yeah,
didn't know that it was dyslexia. It's
yeah.
later on I didn't find that I wasn't actually diagnosed until 2004,
Wow.
December 2004. I remember I'm born 77. So you
Right.
can see the years that I've actually been dealing with this stuff and not knowing. And thankfully I was highly resilient. Not everybody else is.
Yeah, yeah. And I think a lot of people just think, oh, well, it's normal, or, oh, well,
Yeah,
I'll just adjust my life around it, or, oh, just
exactly.
shut up and get on with it, get used to it. This is the way it is.
Yes. And there's something as well about being a black and brown person, which means often they just see you as someone that you should just get on with it.
Yeah, because
You're
we don't
fine,
feel
you're right,
pain.
because we're fine, we're highly resilient, you're able to do stuff. When the truth of the matter is, we're dealing with intergenerational trauma anyway. Stuff that's gone in through, not just in regards to psychologically speaking, but on a cellular level, it's been proven what's happened from slave days right the way till now. So for that fact, we already have that to deal with, let alone the additionalities of just trying to be a person and
Yeah,
a person of color, as they like to say, but I prefer to say someone that's just a black person or whatever the case may be. we're dealing with a lot. So there's a lot of hurdles for us to get over all the time.
Yeah.
And without having that narrative, we can't know what to be able to move forward with and know that there's help out there and know there's support out there. But I was very fortunate to have what I've had. I've fought for it, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But once I've got the right sort of support and it's been the one that's been fit for purpose, I've managed to get that change. But it's been hard. It's been a struggle. And a lot
Wow.
of those places don't have the resources. Narcolepsy UK, for example, I want to try and raise money for them because I know that without their support, I probably won't be living where I'm living now because they
Yeah.
helped me in regards to that too. Because in reality, I couldn't live on the 47th floor, the 13th floor. That could kill me. I can't do
Yes.
stairs. Do you know what I mean? If
Yeah.
there's a fire, I can't get back down. If I
Yeah.
collapse, there's a special equipment. Last week, the fire brigade was at my house to check it over, make sure everything was okay. And even though they said everything is great, Marcus, and I've got lots of systems in place,
Mm.
the reality is if they come to my place to come and take me out, they can't take me out with any kind of equipment. It's a special lift they have to take me out with.
Because you're
Because if they
big.
move me, they can break my bones and I won't be able to walk anymore.
Wow.
And that's the
Okay.
reality.
And also, so another reality is the fact that wherever you are, you do have to alert the fire brigade,
I
the
do.
local fire brigade,
I
to
certainly
let them
do.
know where you are,
Yep.
how
So
long you're going.
anything over 2 days, I have to let them know.
Right.
So I literally have to inform them. So when I'm talking to friends and they're like, come over, I'm like, you don't understand. Me coming over, there's a lot of things I've got to in my home. As I said, I'm not wearing it right now because my friend's just waiting in case there's anything and I'm gonna call to you, so I'm all right. And my
Okay.
family are aware. But usually I've got a band that I wear in case I fall in the house, which is an alert, the community alarm, which the local government has given me through the
Yeah.
borough. But I had to be
Yeah.
assessed for that. She got
Yeah.
the social worker come in and ask me like 36 questions she asked me just to get that.
36. And that's often the thing, isn't it? We're asked all these questions. Sometimes we don't have the answers. And some of us are like, what are you asking me these questions for? Shut up.
Exactly. I mean, they're
Yeah.
asking me when you go to the toilet, how do you wipe yourself? How do you this?
Right.
It's really, really detailed information.
Basic. Yeah.
And if the person that's asking me is not someone I feel like I connect with, I don't want to share that sort of detail with them. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Those are the things that we're having to face, whoever you are, any kind of disabilities or difficulties it is you go through. It's quite difficult having that. So that's why often I do the advocacy for people to help them on those meetings. Even like I was explaining before about the personal independence payment and being able
Yeah.
to make application for that and how difficult it is and how
Yes.
people go through deep mental trauma just trying to discuss how we do various different things. It's not easy, it's tough.
It's
And I've
tough.
helped a lot of people, but the reality is without people having the right sort of information, we can't get the support because the support is not built to make things easy for us. The support is trying to pick out the people that aren't telling the truth rather than supporting the people that are telling the
Oh,
truth.
yeah. So that's why I suppose a lot of the times as well, sometimes our applications can be rejected because we've not put it across in a way that they can actually
Absolutely.
assess.
They
That,
don't even understand. I keep saying to people when you're filling out the form, you've got to explain when you're in your worst case scenario, your everyday experience, move away all the mitigating factors that you put in place to help yourself. When
yeah.
those aren't present, what is your actual experience? So, like Marcus, oh my God, it's awful. And just even them hearing that makes them feel like they've been stripped away of those support scaffolding
Yeah.
processes they've put in place.
Yeah.
So people need a lot of navigation through that. And now even CAB, I called them the other day for someone. It was 12-week waiting list, but
Just to
their
get
form had to
by.
be in within 8 weeks, so
Yeah.
it was impossible for them.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. What is your inspiration? What helps you to keep going on? What is it that keeps you going?
You know what it is? It's a few things. One, it's my family because I've always had great family support around me. Big out love to mum, dad, aunties, sisters, cousins, all the rest of it. Love you all. Mwah, mwah. So I've been really fortunate for that. And you, of course, maybe my cousin, bless you. So that's been really good. Also, my faith has been really helpful. So having the
Yeah.
faith and the belief. And
Yeah.
also because I've come from, my original family in regards to Jamaica were Maroon people. There were people that were fighters. And
Right.
my sister, she's quite the creator and historian. She did some little history and found out that originally, we were from the Ashanti tribe, which is a tribe which were about fighters. There were people that were royalists as well. There were people that
Yeah.
fought. So
Yeah.
I think it's in my blood,
Yeah.
but also I realized if I don't fight, if I cease to fight, I cease to live. And that was the reality I had to face. So I said, I'm going to fight first. Otherwise, I just won't be able to live. And that
Yeah.
was what I decided to do. So having that family, having the right sort of support out, and being open and honest and quite candid about my truth is
Yeah.
what's really helped me through my life.
Wow. Okay.
Because
That's
silence doesn't help.
it's not helping.
That's insulation, and isolation means you don't get what you need.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a bit like a role reversal of time, isn't it? Because there was a time when silence would keep us alive, you know?
100%.
Yeah, because if our closest people and furthest away people didn't know what was going on with our lives, and they couldn't run, could tell Master, could they?
That's right. Exactly.
Right.
And you know what? It's interesting you said that, because that's the biggest struggle I find, because innately it's built within us.
Yes.
Literally, it's been trained within us and drilled within our DNA almost,
Yeah.
for us to keep stum, keep quiet, don't
Yeah.
say nothing, keep your mouth shut.
That's
Children
it.
for see and don't be, you're supposed to be seen and not heard, and all of
Yeah.
these different strange things that we've held to, but those things can't continue anymore. And I think what happens, there's different ways to shout. And some is shouting, and other times it's just talking up and saying the truth of what's really going on.
Right.
And I've
Okay.
learned to open my mouth. My friends always say, Marcus, you're the one person we know, no matter what, you'll always say help. And I say help every time I need it, because I have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I might not be here. And that's the reality I have to face every single day.
And we need to follow in your footsteps in that regards. First of all, I just want to say big up to Lorna, who has left a message on the WhatsApp, not WhatsApp, Passion Radio app. Okay.
Mm,
So, to all our brothers and sisters who haven't downloaded it yet, please hurry up and download it,
please
because
do.
we can actually engage in more people if we're talking like
Good,
this now. So many
good.
people are walking around with disabilities and they are
Yes.
completely unaware of it, you
And
know?
particularly when they're hidden disabilities.
Yeah,
If you're walking around with a stick, or you're walking around, your walking stick, or you've got whether it's a rollerball, or you're in a wheelchair, or whatever the case may be, it's more apparent then, isn't it? But when
yeah,
they're hidden, people just think you're okay, when a lot of us are not. Hence
yeah,
why I've got all these things around my neck, and I wear all the things that I do, and I advocate for that so much, because the more it is I've done it, the more it is I found freedom. I can now mobilize more by myself than I
yeah,
could before. I can't all the time, to be honest. I still need lots of family support and friends and carers and all the rest of it.
yeah,
But I'm able to do it more. I really am. And I can't always get out the house, because if I'm not okay, I'm just not okay.
yeah,
And I just have to let people know. So I have to let people down. It also meant that I've lost friendships, unfortunately,
yeah,
because people expect you to be able to just be there. And I've always been able to be there before. But things are different now for me. So I can't always be there as I'd love to.
yeah. And I think that's also about kind of self-care, because if you're a person who's used to, you know, doing for people, running around for
Mm.
people,
Oh,
being
yeah,
available for people,
absolutely.
sometimes that's the hardest thing, to like let them down. But
Yep.
personal self-care has to come first. And if people can't
Yep.
understand that or overstand that, then it is an issue, isn't it?
It's a
But
massive one. I think what's also there is quite difficult for a lot of us, because the reality is it's tough out there. The
yeah,
world is not designed for us. It's not
yeah,
designed for people with disabilities. It's not. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? And a lot of us don't know a lot of the signs about disabilities. So, for
yeah,
example, I went away a little while ago, and I made sure that I signed up for the support in the wheelchair.
yeah,
And I saw people look at me like, "What is the matter with him? He's fine." But as
yeah,
soon as they see me try to get out of the wheelchair, they're like, "Oh God, he's got a problem." Do you see what I
right,
mean? Because that's when you really see, if I try to mobilize up and down, that's when the pain really exacerbates.
yeah,
Um, but again, people just expect you to look okay. Just because I'm smiling doesn't mean I'm okay. It just means I'm all right now.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? I'm okay because I've got lots of support systems in place, but a lot of people don't have it.
no,
And the
wow,
key word is invisible disabilities, hidden disabilities. It
hidden.
is as it is. It means you can't see it, but it's absolutely there.
So is stuff like fibromyalgia and
Oh, that's
lupus,
definitely hidden disabilities. I mean, what I would say to everybody, I would say to everyone, if you go on the Hidden Disabilities website,
what
Hidden
is that?
Disabilities Sunflower, and what that does is I mean, you got them, I mean, it's global, it's amazing, absolutely
What is it?
fabulous.
Is it www dot?
Yep. It's better if you just type in Hidden Disabilities Sunflower into your Google search, it will come up straight away.
Perfect.
And then once you go on there, what's really great is that you'll be able to get that support that you need. And that support will, for example, there's a massive list. I think it's like over 900 of different hidden disabilities that are present that they've actually listed on there. Yep. It's amazing. That's why I love hidden disabilities. I'll talk about them all day. So for example, for those that are able to see it, I've got a specific lanyard round which says please give me space. That's what it's for. So it's a black lanyard with a yellow circle with a body shape and arrows to the left and right, which literally means please give me space.
Yeah.
But the sunflower is a green one with the sunflower on it. So that's usually the hidden disability lanyard, for example.
Right.
Right. But apart from the lanyard itself, you've got other things you can wear. So you've got the bands, you've got the
Right.
pin, you've got the face mask types design, you've got the headscarf, the hat, the
Yeah.
the jumper. Different ways for people to actually explain what different disabilities they might have. I wear this, as I said, because I need it.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious, as soon as I got it, so people know what and what not to do with me. But also you've got other things as well, like the access card, as I explained to you before, which is called the Nubus card.
Right.
So that really helps as well because you can be able to actually show evidence of your disability without carrying everything around with you anymore. So you can just show them the access card and it's got the signs and symbols on there too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's different ways for us to be able to communicate our needs to different
Yeah.
people. But
Yeah.
fibromyalgia is definitely hidden disabilities where people are experiencing chronic pain, where the body's consistently in pain.
Wow. Okay.
And that's whatever weather. So it can be really hot, but they're in pain. It can be really cold, they're still experiencing pain. And that pain can be incredibly debilitating. But then you've also got something called comorbidities, where you don't just have one disability, you have one or more, which is what I have.
Yeah.
Or coexisting issues, like I've got disabilities and a learning difficulty. Do you see what I mean? So it just
Yeah.
depends on what it is you're facing as an individual.
So, seeing as you have all of these aids that you wear that help make life easier, can
Mm.
we assume then that the emergency services and, you know, the police and
Hmm.
everybody are fully aware of what all of
No,
these
they're
things mean?
not.
They're not.
And that's my concern. So, for example, most are aware of the sunflower symbol. So that's
Yeah.
really good. But not everybody is. Not everybody understands please give me space one, for example.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I'm going to be doing some training for our local police here. I've actually sent the proposal through for them. I'm not asking for any money or anything. I just want people to know what
Yeah.
it is that we have. I want them to know we've got the access cards. I want them to know that we've got lanyards and we've got head masks and different things. We've got even headbands and stuff and all sorts of different things. Just be able to say we have a hidden disability, see us. But
Yeah.
a lot of companies know about it, but not every single company does. And I want every single company to know that
Yeah.
that's how people like myself and others are communicating. I mean,
Yeah.
at the moment, they said 1 in 6 people in the world have a disability. That's
God.
like 1.3 billion people on the earth. So if that's the case, which we know it to be the case, then people need to know much more about it. But we're not hearing as much as we'd like to. So I
Yeah.
want to tell more people. So that's why I'm also going to start doing some work with Scope. I want to be a campaigner with them.
Yeah.
I'm going to do some more work as well with other places as well, because I really want people to know as much as they can about it,
Yeah.
and about hidden disabilities and difficulties and get it out there. That's why I do the work with students in schools,
Yeah.
where a lot of schools are not providing the support that's needed and boroughs are not given the finance around the HCP plans, the
Right.
education and healthcare plans, which are so important. Just even to get the needs assessment for the health plan is hard work, and
Yeah.
they have to want to
Yeah.
fight to get a ed psych, for example.
And this is kind of off-putting. It's off-putting for families who have to go through all of that, the paperwork and sorting everything out
Mm.
and understanding the terminology and,
Oh gosh.
time scales and all this kind of
Waiting
stuff.
lists are
Yeah,
horrific.
yeah. There's a lot. Is that
I
on
mean, for
purpose?
children, it's about 2 to 3 years, some of the waiting lists. For
Right.
adults, in regards to getting assessment, it's like 5 years or more.
Why is that?
You know what it is? We just don't have the resources. And also happen is a lot more people know about it now, so people are applying. So more people are applying stuff.
And they're trying to siphon out all of the fake
Oh
ones,
gosh,
the
exactly.
legit ones.
Because there's
Okay.
going to be people that are going to try and take advantage. We know this. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But there's a lot of people like myself that already got our hospital letters. We've got our
Yeah.
referrals. We're
Yeah.
having the medication. But even though that's the case, that might not be the case for someone that maybe has ADHD, for example. Because I'm working with people with ADHD at the moment, that I'm certain does. And they certainly fit all the traits in
Yeah.
regards to that. Other people that got ASD. as in
Yeah.
being on the autistic spectrum,
Yeah.
as an autistic spectrum disorder. We've got a lot of people as well. We've got various other needs as well, but it's just not being taken up. There's not enough resources.
Yeah.
And the waiting lists are so long. CAMS, for example, the waiting list is horrific.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have to almost fight to get on the list. And then you still have a priority list above the normal list. It just
Yeah.
goes on. And that's
Wow.
why I continue to advocate as much as I can for whomever it is I'm able to support. But obviously, I can't do everybody. I
No,
really
no.
can't. But I
Yeah.
do who I can. I support who I can.
Absolutely. And I'm going to take this opportunity to publicly thank you, because when I did hit the skids last year, and I did hit the skids in a proper way, when I did hit the wall and slide down, it was you who helped me to get
Bless
back
you.
on my feet again. So I genuinely, honestly thank you for that.
Bless you.
At the beginning of the show, we kind of discussed what songs we were going to play. At the very beginning of the show, our brothers and sisters on the radio heard us talking about our teeth. So I apologize for that, but that's a whole new show.
Oh, they did. That's good.
They heard a little bit of it.
The good bit of information. What side of your family?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll explain that another day. But we're coming to the top of this hour now. All right.
Mhm.
Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna play Stand Up from
Oh, I
Harriet
love
by
it. Love it.
Cynthia. Okay.
Love it.
And that's
Love it.
for Auntie Cynthia as well. Big yourself
Hey,
up, Auntie,
Auntie.
while you're listening. And we will come back after the break. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so thank you for joining me for this second hour. You are listening to DJ LP on Passion Radio, and I am here with my special guest, Mr. Marcus Morgan-Valentine, extraordinaire. Does extraordinaire even do it? Shall I go through your list of accomplishments and greatnesses again?
I don't know when you said it before, I got a little embarrassed, just a little bit shy.
That's all right. As an introvert extrovert,
Come
yeah,
on now.
I think you
No,
know
I'm an
that.
extroverted introvert. I'm the reverse.
You're an extroverted introvert.
Introvert. Yep.
So what's that then? Am I
So
one of
what
those? I'm sure I'm one of them.
you are indeed. Yeah. So my natural proclivity is to, and my natural proclivity or propensity is to be, oh God, big words. But anyway, can't help it. I'm an academic. What can I say?
That's it.
But ultimately, it just means that my natural way of being is introverted, but I'm required to be extroverted for various different reasons or different spheres. So I've got the capacity to be, but my natural way is to be introverted. So
Right.
I like
Okay.
my own space, my own time, doing my own things. I don't have to be, the la 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 of everything, although I'm
Yeah.
often the la 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 of
Yeah.
everything, because that's
Yeah.
what I'm called to do. Is hosting and advocating requires me to do that. So the roles and the things that I do require me to be extroverted,
Yeah.
but ultimately my natural propensity and proclivity is to be quite introverted, and I like to watch and learn and see and listen. Yeah,
Yes. And that is why we refer to ourselves as twins, isn't it? Because I'm
absolutely.
rather much the same. I like to be in my own company. I like to be in
Mhm.
my bed with my thumb in my mouth, keeping my behind quiet, keeping myself to myself.
100%. I don't do the thumb in the mouth though. I haven't
Okay.
done that. But what I do instead is I twiddle my hair.
All
Like, 'cause I've
right.
got long
Okay.
black locks for those who have just tuned in.
Yeah.
I've got long black locks and I love just twiddling them in my fingers. Or
Okay.
you'll often see me in the fetal position in the bed, covered up with a whole cover. I love covering with covers.
Yes.
And for those that have seen my home or been in my home before, you'll know that I'm the home of, I call it the home of Kochman, where you relax.
Yeah.
So I have loads of cushions. So even in the back, for those that are able to see, and for
Yeah.
those that can't just describe it, I've got two black cushions you can see at the top there, and two at the side, which are leopard print. But underneath that is like gold printing and all sorts of stuff. I've got cushions galore. On my bed, I've got 19 cushions. 19.
19.
Yeah, I really
Okay.
have.
You were talking about twiddling your hair. Okay.
Yes.
I can often be found with a thumb in my mouth. I don't even care. Like, who knows? I don't even feel shame anymore. I
You realize
found
that's
out
often part of your ASD.
that's what I was going to say to you. This is
Yeah.
stimming, isn't it?
Yes, it's stimming.
These
It's called
little
stimming.
things that we do
Stimming. Yeah.
to, why do we do them? Is it to protect ourselves, or is
It's
it,
a
what
way
is
of
it?
self-soothe. It's called self-soothing.
Right.
The way we
Okay.
self-soothe is the way that we self-regulate. So everyone does different things. Some people tap their feet, some people tap their sides, some people play with their nails, some people have other ones which are more like stronger ones, which they might pick their skin, pick their nose, pick different parts of their body. They might pull out their hair, which can be quite strong.
Yeah,
And that's because of what else they may be facing if they feel some kind of harassment or place where they don't feel comfortable or okay. Sometimes as well, it's people that are trying to self-regulate because they feel like there's inner pain that they can't actually exude out. So it could be forms of lower level self-harming.
right.
It goes on. There's such a variance in regards to the whole spectrum
Yeah.
of different things we do because some people suck on it from so much that there's discoloration, there's all kind of growth and stuff. So people go that far. It just depends.
Buck teeth as well, and all of
Yeah,
that.
all of that. I don't want to do the butt teeth, but it's true.
It's true.
There's a little raising towards the front of the teeth, indeed. Yes.
Yes. Some would call it
Hmm.
an overbite. An
Yes,
overbite.
they got. Yeah, that is often the word we use is overbite. We don't do butt teeth. We just say
Yeah.
overbite. Absolutely.
So, we was both born in the 70s. You 77, me 78. Like,
Yes.
like, where was all of this information? Why is it now that it's all kind of exploding? Because so many of our brothers and sisters have been
Mm,
demonized, they've been hospitalized, they've been
yes.
imprisoned.
They're in mental health institutes, a lot of them, unfortunately,
Yeah.
or experiencing very strong levels of mental health medication. And that's because people just didn't understand, and because they didn't get the support they needed earlier on, their systems internally began to crash, or they experienced serious mental health episodes because they weren't being supported or understood. So they either insulated themselves, isolated themselves, or the manifestation was one that they couldn't actually be able to be in the community or manage community spaces like others. So there's some
Right.
people that are autistic, for example, that find groups and spaces quite difficult. Like for me, for example, if people crowd around me a lot because of the cataplexy, I can get a bit unsettled because part of the other things I was saying to you before, as in my hidden disabilities, is I've got CPTSD. I also suffer from depression and anxiety. My depression is different from others, so I'm not depressed. So, for example, I had a mental health practitioner come to my home once, and she said, "Well, I know you're depressed, Marcus, but your depression is very different from others. You know, my place was very tidy. I was very well presented because they say often that might not be the case for some people. For some people it is, for some people it's not.
Mm,
And I'd been eating, there was no issues with my bloods, generally speaking, or anything like that. But my depression was the fact that people was not accepting my disability. And
right.
because they weren't accepting it, they were thinking it was other things and calling me names. And then ultimately I was being abused because of it. And that was at work. And that's where I
Wow.
had my first breakdown.
Wow.
And my breakdown wasn't like others where, they felt like I couldn't do anything. I wanted to do things to people. Literally, I really did because no matter how I was explaining to them, they saw that. I mean, remember one time I never forget. One of my managers, I sent it to her. It was a 17-page document from a hospital,
Wow.
and she couldn't understand. And they said I had to come off my medication for 7 days so they could put a watch around my wrist to be able to see how my sleeps incidences were happening, and cataplexic incidents were happening as well. But I knew if I did that, then I couldn't work. So I said I
Yeah.
needed the time off, and she refused to give it to me because she said I've got to give them a month's notice, and I could only give them 3 weeks. And literally, I was depleting just by the moment because of it. Um, and it was rough. It was terrible. I mean, I've experienced a lot of abuse from people, particularly in the workplace, or just people on
Yeah.
the street as well. Because to them I appear able-bodied, and I do that in speech marks with my fingers.
Yeah.
And because for them I'm able-bodied, but I wasn't. Even today, for example, I went to advocate on behalf of my grandaunt because she's experiencing some serious stuff in regards to her own issues, bless her. And my grandaunt, because she's so lovely and pleasant, everyone's like, she's fine. I'm like, no, she's
Mm,
experiencing very serious issues. I won't go
mm,
into the detail of that because I haven't shared and said that she hasn't given me permission to share that, so I won't say any more. But those that know.
mm.
But then the person at reception said, Marcus, just send the email. I said, well, typing for me is quite difficult.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, you'll be fine. I said, no, you don't know if I'm fine. I have 13 different hidden disabilities. And when I showed him things around my neck, he's like, oh, okay. So you see why some of these things can be really helpful. If I
Yeah.
couldn't show him my freedom pass and show him my hidden disabilities, several hidden disabilities lanyard,
Mm,
then he just wouldn't have thought what I was saying was the truth. And
yeah.
sometimes even with those things, with the access cards and the Nimbus cards and various other things as well, people just don't believe you
Yeah.
because it's hidden. They believe it's
Yeah.
not true. But just because it's hidden doesn't mean I hid it. It just means it's invisible to the naked eye. That's what it really means. And a lot of people struggle with that. So being able to help people to understand. I mean, I was talking to someone else, for example, she has ADHD. And I was also explaining to her that I think it's possible that she has RSD as well, which is rejection sensitive dysphoria.
Say that
Um,
again.
rejection RSD, rejection sensitive dysphoria. Uh,
Rejection
sensitive
sensitive.
dysphoria,
Yeah.
RSD, which
Which,
means that she experiences rejection. If you imagine a Richter scale from 0 to 10, most people experience it maybe on a 3. For someone with RSD, they experience it on a 7 to a 9 to a 10 even.
wow,
So the level of rejection when they experience it is exacerbated hugely. They experience it manifest. I mean, it's just incredible. And I've worked with a few people with that. Um, and
wow,
when I said it to them, they're like, "What are you talking about? I'm not here trying to get another hidden disability." I said, "Often we've got comorbidities. They walk together. They coexist. So ADHD often sits with ASD, for example. Narcolepsy 1, it means you've got narcolepsy and cataplexy, or narcolepsy 2, just so you got diabetes. A1 and 2 would just be narcolepsy on its own. But alongside that, you might have a weight disorder, or you
yeah,
might have an issue with your weight, or maybe binging, for example,
right,
or night foraging, as I often call it, which is what I have. So at
okay,
night, I just walk, literally, I don't even realize I'm doing it, and I go and I eat.
yeah. I have found that, through the work that I do with dying, death, and grief, that
Mm,
everything is often just kind of compartmentalized. You
yes.
know, instead of looking at the whole picture, which
We
tells the
don't
whole
do
story.
holistic work very much again. What we do is we do services are funded through primary need, which means the need which is the most prevalent is the one that's often addressed, not dealing with people from the intersection of their need. So I often speak to people about what their intersection is.
Yeah,
And the fact, if you do with me at my intersection, which means if you think about it a bit like different places where you all meet on the same road, for example, that's where my intersection is. So if you meet with me and just talk to me about a narcolepsy and cataplexy, but don't deal with my depression, anxiety, and CPTSD and my costochondritis,
right.
then that means I'm in trouble. So you deal with
Yes,
me in regards to my medication on that side, but what about my medication on the other side? What about my mental health needs? What about my mental health support? What about the fact that my CPTSD does not manifest in regards to my mental health so much, but much more in regards to my physiological needs? So that means I'm more susceptible to sickness and illnesses. So if I get a flu, then that means I literally can't move.
yeah, you're done. Yeah,
See what I mean? And if I have a cough, that means it exacerbates my costochondritis. So that means I feel I'm now having a minor heart attack. So if you don't meet with me at my intersection, then you can't help me to support me. And a lot of people kind of look at people and say, just get on with it. But what about people that have got seizures? Or if you have what they used to be called pseudo seizures, they're about to change it to functional seizures now, because it's not pseudo, it doesn't describe it well. You're not planning to have a seizure. Your
yeah,
body finds that there's no other way to be able to make itself safe almost. And the only way to click out of what's really going on, then your body goes into a mode of a seizure. So most people think that it's something they put on and they, to make it happen. I make myself have a seizure. That's not the truth.
right.
Functional seizures, rather than pseudo seizures, are actual seizures which happen with the body, or they call them non-epileptic seizures, NES. Those things are real. And when we have those, people have to understand you haven't designed to make it happen. I can't come out of it if I want to.
Yeah,
It's happening because my body needs to shut down because it cannot manage what's actually going on or what it's facing.
right. Okay. This is deep, isn't it?
It's deep
If
stuff.
some,
It really is.
if somebody thought that somebody in their family, if somebody listening today
Yeah.
thinks actually this sounds like Susie, this sounds
Yeah.
like what's going on with Delroy. What
Yes.
what can they do? Like, and how do you tell that person? Like, like it's through our conversations that I realize that I'm probably on the spectrum.
Yes.
But like, how do you bring that conversation up with people, and how do you encourage them to what? Like, how does this work?
I think it's about understanding how that person engages with the world. So some people, I speak to people through pictures. So I give them some narrative and I send them pictures. I find that Instagram is really helpful.
Yeah,
Google Images is really helpful as well.
Yeah.
But I would say it's really important you don't try to self-diagnose yourself because that's not going to be helpful. But what you
Yeah.
can do is get lots of information, make logs of what's
Yeah.
happened throughout your day to say what you've experienced, what things, write down how you felt, what's going on in your mind, what's been your low mood, what
Yeah.
has been the feelings you've had or non-feelings. Because as I
Yeah.
explained to you before, I wear special shoes and special types of trainers. I wear certain jewelry as well that I wear, not the ones I've got on now, but there's other ones I wear if I'm going to go out which are quite heavy, but it helps me to know that my hand's in use. Otherwise, I can't feel my hands often.
Wow.
You see what I mean? Because I've got something called sleepy hand syndrome. I've also got carpal tunnel, and also I just don't have the feelings in my hands very often.
Okay.
So it just is what it is. So, but those aids help me. But because I'm quite versed in that, it's okay for me. I also say to get in touch with the charities. Find out what it is that you think, and find out from your family. Talk to people in your family, but definitely get in touch with your GP. Say, this is what's happening. I need you to check me out. I need you to refer me on, because it might not be one thing, it might be something else, or it
Yeah.
might be some coexisting issues or comorbidities. So it's about being able to be quite open as much as you can. And that's why often people contact me and just have a conversation and say, Marcus, this is going on. I can't actually diagnose them, not at all. What I can certainly do is be able to direct them to say, these are the traits for this, these
Yeah.
are some of the traits for that, which I've done with a lot of people like yourself and others. Which other people are like, are you sure, Marcus? And then they found out, oh my God, it's true. Like
Yeah.
stimming, for example.
Like
Stimming is a great
stimming.
thing.
Yeah. And what was that one that you didn't diagnose, but you said this person sounds like they might actually be narcissistic. And
Yes,
you're
do you
even
remember?
able to speak about the type of narcissism
Yeah, that's
down
right.
to, because there's not, people like bandy around the word in it. Oh, he's a narcissist.
Narcissist, no.
But it's
The
so much
narcissism is a real
deeper.
syndrome. It really is. But there can be people, some of the kind of narcissistic traits as
Uh-huh.
well. Some
Yeah.
become narcissistic tendencies. That doesn't make them a narcissist, but they can have tendencies or traits or be on the road or trajectory to becoming a narcissist later on. Who knows?
Right.
And I've just happened to have worked with a lot of people that have those various different traits. And therefore, I'm able to see some traits and identify the likelihood it may be this, it may be that. Like
Yeah.
I did with yourself when we was talking about that particular individual.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
and then in speaking to other people close to them, like, oh my gosh, the light bulb switched on.
Yeah.
And it also helps you to understand because people like narcissists, and I won't go into detail of it because that's too big a topic. That's a whole topic all by itself.
Yeah.
Um, Often don't realize they're narcissists.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I'm not making excuses for them because some do, but some people just don't realize it.
Yeah.
And because they see things or interpret things in different ways, they just see themselves as different, but don't
Yeah.
realize how their difference affects other people or how it is that the lens that they put on the world and how they experience the world.
Right.
So I just think it's really important that we give people chances. And if it is indeed that they prove that they don't want to move forward, some people just can't manage that. They
Yeah.
can't. But sometimes just understanding that maybe there is this possible trait,
Yeah.
um, then it can help you to understand how best maybe to navigate their world or navigate being around them or interacting with them. And that's why I interact with people the way I do. And sometimes I say some people to say some stuff to people they don't like.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not me being unpleasant or anything. It's just that I'm observing some stuff and I really want them to get possible some help.
Yeah.
And I remember working with one woman, I never forget it, bless her. She's someone I used to work with for years. And it was very, very clear to me that there was some very serious mental health issues there. And as I said to you before, I'm a mental health first aider as well. So I've had some training in the area and done it for like 5 years and more.
Yeah.
And and just being able to say some things to her, she freaked out at first, but later on when she got some support, she came back crying and said, Marcus, you know what? I'm so glad you told me. And I was just saying to her, I'm seeing some traits of a strong personality disorder. And she really freaked out at me, really was upset. And I said, look, I'm not being unpleasant towards you because I'm not trying to diagnose you. I can't. But I
Yeah.
can certainly tell you some traits that I'm seeing. And maybe you want to get some support. And
Yeah.
she said, now she understands why people treat her the way she treats because she didn't understand that she was being seen the way she was being seen
Yes.
because that wasn't how she was observing herself. And
Yes.
later on, it's really interesting. Some years later, she came back. She said, Marcus, what you did was horrible, but it was so important. I'm glad. And she's getting her support now, and she's getting some therapy, and she's doing all sorts of stuff. And I'm so pleased for her.
Yeah.
And bless her, she was just a bit younger than me.
Mm.
And she was saying, it's only because of the stuff you're going through I even believed you. Otherwise, I never would have believed you.
Right.
But if I hadn't been through some of the training I have, if I hadn't been around the clinicians I am, I wouldn't have a clue. I
Yeah.
wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't have known I had CPTSD myself. I knew I had something. I just didn't know what it was because normal CPTSD doesn't manifest physiologically often manifest in regards to the mental health. But mine
Right.
wasn't the case. So I didn't fit the bill. So when I said it to my doctor, she said, "No, Marcus, no, it's not you." But then later on, when I spoke to a specialist now, she's like, "Marcus, you definitely got CPTSD, except it's physiological." And I
Right.
was absolutely astounded by it. But it changed my life because it helped me to understand why I engage with the world that I do. So
Right.
I feel things or just don't feel things at all and don't know why I don't.
Okay.
But later on, I get this weird sickness or unwellness and don't know why it's manifesting that way. But that's my body's way of signaling and giving me some information. Something's wrong, something's not okay. So it's been quite a journey for me and still is a journey. But, I'm so pleased that as I keep saying, I've got great friends, amazing family. Big up to mom and dad, sister, auntie, cousin, everybody. I love you all. Oh my God.
Well, we started the show this hour with Charlie Wilson. There goes my baby.
Baby, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh
And
my gosh.
it was
Oh,
just before I managed to get you back again. I just told everybody that you were wandering around in the
yes.
sanctuary somewhere.
I was trying to get back on the Zoom. The Zoom was like, no, sorry, that's an invalid code. I'm like, you got to be kidding. But we got back, so it was
You got
great.
back, yes. And I said
Mm.
to the listeners that you were going to explain the significance and
Oh,
the
yes,
importance of
definitely.
that song.
Well, in 2014, and just to let family know, as a proviso, I'm going to talk a bit about Helen. So in 2014, well, actually, just before that, in November, actually, my younger sister, I noticed some difference in her. I noticed that she would have colds for longer. I noticed just different things. I wasn't quite sure what was going on, but I knew something was wrong. And I said to her, something's wrong. And for those that know me, know that I have a kind of a knowing of things, if I put it that way.
Another
So I
show.
just said, yeah, some insight that just happens. It just is what it is. Everyone's gifted in different ways. And I heard something really clearly, which concerned me. And then I watched her from then on. And then in January, we had a call, January 21st. I'll never forget that day. I think it was a Tuesday, if I remember rightly. And that was in 2014, where she called myself and also my older sister, Marie, and said that she was in hospital. I started to explain what's going on. And we kind of just put everything down. I was at work. She was at work. We just left and met her, brought her back home. And then they gave us a call. Basically, long story short, they found out that she had leukemia, an acute form of leukemia. And unfortunately, the month afterwards, she passed away. She was in hospital and didn't return home, literally. And one of her favorite songs was There Goes My Baby. And it's such a beautiful song. So for me, it was really important. After that, I made the decision. Now remember, that was 10 years after finding out I was dyslexic, and 4 years after finding out, as in diagnosed, that I had narcolepsy, cataplexy, and I forgot mild sleep apnea. Got that too. Forgot about that
Oh,
one. Always forget
yeah,
about that one. And
yeah,
I've got so many of them, I forget sometimes.
yeah.
And I made a decision that I'm going to go on a serious health search, number one, and I'm going to go on a serious search to find out what other things are out there. And that's when I found out all these other stuff about myself and family members and friends and all these different stuff. So I've done the health stuff, hence I've lost a lot of weight. I was like almost 30 stone before. I've gone down
Wow.
now to I went down to 21 and a half, but in COVID I went up to 23. But
Okay.
I've gone back down again, but I went back up to 24, kind of held to skeleton somewhere between 23, 24, but I'm still 6 stone
Okay.
lighter than I was before.
Yeah.
Um, and I had to do it. I had to do it because I realized the seriousness of regards to weight, which was also linked to my narcolepsy as well.
Oh,
So I was glad to hear it wasn't just me just binging or something. Because if you look
yeah.
and see how much I eat, I don't eat as much as most people think I would.
Yeah.
Um, they kind of laugh, like I say it. I'm like, yeah, I'm full.
Yeah.
It just is what it is.
I think
But after,
we
sorry,
have the body of warriors. We
we
have the
do.
stance and the stature
We
of warriors.
do. And because I'm tall and
Yeah.
we kind of even it out well, people are like, you're big people, but you're very mobile. So just to also let you know, I'm going to be doing in March a walk, a 70-mile walk for Samaritans. Yep, I am doing 70-mile walk in March for Samaritans. So I want some people to make sure and to give some money towards that. So you can go on my Facebook and check that out so you can see that. We talk about that a bit in a minute.
70 miles.
Yep, 70 miles in March. I'm going to do the walk. So it won't be all at the same time, be over that
Oh,
month. But
okay.
I walk a lot anyway. So I'll do that in like a week, probably. Know me.
Okay.
Um, because I walk about 10 miles a day as much as I can. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's important to me. That's part of my whole regime to make sure I'm well and I'm okay and I'm walking around and
Yeah.
helps me to remain mobile because walking is really, really good for you. on
Okay.
so many different levels. It's just incredible. And I go into an area that's all sort of greenery. I'm not near roads and stuff, and literally I'm in the bush, literally, and it's just wonderful.
Lovely.
Um, so yeah, so I go to a forest and actually walk.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, after having everything that happened with Helen, I made a decision that I wanted to go on a health journey, which I did, and hence why everyone comes to me and says, "Marcus, what's going on here? What can we eat? What shouldn't we eat? Shouldn't," and all different things.
Yeah.
And I try and advise as much as I can, and also, refer people on, because that's really important. But also went on a whole journey in regards to my neurodiverseness and what's going on there. And that's why I wanted to be an advocate for other people, because actually, as soon as it is I started to address my health, then my disabilities began to improve a bit.
Right.
Do you see what I mean? So my mobility's improved, my
Yeah.
movability's improved, my mental health has improved, and
Yeah.
all those different things because of that. And I tell other people, those people around me, I'm consistently talking to them about their health.
Yeah.
And particularly things like I tell people very often, go and demand, if you have to, from your doctor to get a blood test, but a full MOT blood test, including vitamin D, because I found out that your vitamin D unit should be about 80 in your blood, and mine was only 19. So I only had
Oh,
quarter of the amount. Hence why I was getting the pains, hence why my metabolism wasn't working the way it was, hence how comes my immune system was lower than it was, and hence I kept getting sicker.
yeah.
But the more I then addressed that, then I became better in regards to experiencing better wellness.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not about just the mental health, it's about the healthiness of us as people. And that can really support and undergird issues around our neurodiversion,
Yeah.
um, and also our disabilities and learning difficulties and the rest. So it was the life of my younger sister Helen that really spurred me on. We call her Nen, so we do Smile for Nen and various different things that we continuously do. And it's seen her life and how she addressed life. She had two sayings she had. It's long or no time for games. And I decided that was going to be my strap line for my life. It's no time for games. I'm not here for games. I like games, but I'm not here for games in that sort of way.
Okay.
I'm here to make changes and I want to make the difference. So that's why I do what I do. I advocate the way I do. I go into schools and speak to them and tell them I do the practice improvement. I do the work because the work is important. I've got to do my own work for me, and I've
Yeah.
got to do my own work, and other people need to do their work. I want to
So,
give a round of applause to other people that's around me that's doing their work. So well done.
because it's
And
not easy.
also therapy. Get therapy. So Dr. Spirit and a few others, but Dr. Spirit, you can check her out online. She goes therapy, therapy. So I
Okay.
say everybody do some therapy,
Therapy.
and
Okay.
whatever that therapy is, because there's a lot of therapy that's out there, an opportunity, and I got mine. I've been in therapy for some time and continuously experience different levels of therapy, both spiritual, but also others as well as in CBT and stuff from a mental health practitioner and others. So I'm making sure I'm getting the work done because I want to be as whole as I can.
Lovely. Would you say that this is your calling? Is this what you
It
came
is
to
my
Earth to
calling.
do?
And my calling is to, if you come across me and you don't experience change, then I'm not doing my job. If
Yeah,
you don't
you see,
experience an
that's why we're
improvement,
twins, isn't
that's it.
it?
Come on. Come on.
I say if your path crosses mine, it's because you're ready.
Yes.
Otherwise, you ain't going to come across me. If you're
No.
ready to level up, and if
Let's
you
do
have
it.
said, come on now, I need a change, if I turn up
Yes.
in your life, then you're damn well lucky.
Come on now. Hey.
It's on. Let's do this.
Let's do the work. We've got to do the work. We've got to do our work. It's our
Yeah,
response. This is our bodies that we have. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? And how we experience the world, whatever happens. So we've got to do the work and make it happen. And we've
yeah,
got to get the right support, like Hidden Disabilities, Sunflower, like Disabilities Rights UK, which I love the work that they do in regards to lobbying and things like that, like Scope, like specific charities like your Dementia UK, like your Narcolepsy UK, and various others, and
yeah,
wherever it is you are in the world.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Just make sure and get your support, get your help, and fight for it. Make sure it happens. And if you can make it happen, do it.
I just have to also big up BHI, the Black Health Initiative
Come
charity.
on now.
Yes, yes.
Hey, BHI.
Absolutely. If any of you are listening to what we're talking about and you feel like you are personally affected by anything that we're discussing, you can even look up BHI, Black Health Initiative, or check me out, check Marcus out. I will
Yeah.
give you Marcus's number.
Can you imagine?
Yeah,
So I get all these
Marcus.
calls come through. I know exactly who it is. It's you.
You now work for BHI, Marcus. And
Come
so
on now.
just ask for his number and then just give the code Passion Radio. You get 10% off your session. I'm only joking. I'm joking. I'm only joking. But,
Oh,
you know, we
bless.
need to be more accessible. We need to be
We do.
seen. We need to be visible. We need to be talking about these things because there's such a stigma related to them.
Mm,
And I'm on the line where I'm saying that this is also spiritual.
yes.
What are your thoughts? Because for me,
Absolutely. I keep saying to people, we are body, mind, and soul. Do you know what I mean? We are three-part being, and whether you like it or not, that's just the
yeah,
reality. You can tell because you know the spirit of a person, you know
yeah,
the soul of a person, and you can see the body of the person, definitely their mind too, just by
yeah,
engaging with an individual. So whether we like it or not, that's what we are.
yeah,
However you manifest that, understand that, appreciate that, whether that's a faith-based way, a spiritual way, a conscious way, whatever it is that you experience it in, that's up to you. But for me, it's about making sure I'm becoming as balanced a human being, because we're definitely all beings for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Some of us might not feel quite human, but we're definitely human beings as much as
yeah,
we can
being,
be. And
yeah,
we're experiencing, I believe that we are a spirit having a experience through a body whilst having a soul. And for
mm,
that case, I want to make sure that we have the best experience that we can and come here and do the work we're supposed to do and make sure and have the effect we should have. So we should be affecting and infecting. I mean, we should be infecting processes, procedures, and programs, and we should be affecting people. And that's
wow,
what I stand by. That's what I stand by. That's part of my passion. That's what I make sure can happen. I mentor people, and that's what I do. And I mentor tough. So if you ever want to be mentored by a really tough person, I'm the guy.
yeah,
Um, I don't play. So if you don't
yeah,
want to be facing your stuff, don't come to me because you're wasting
yeah.
time. And I'll let you know that.
You certainly will, and you
I
certainly
will.
do. Yes. So, how do people get hold of you? How can we find
Yeah,
you?
so there's different ways to get a hold of me. People that have my number have my number. If you don't, please don't look for my number because my phone's always popping off. You know that. It doesn't stop.
Doesn't it?
It
Doesn't.
doesn't, literally. So the best way to get hold of me, sorry. Oh, forgive me, sorry.
Oh,
I'm not feeling
darling,
tired, don't worry. But I haven't had my
okay,
normal nap between my 12 and 2 nap, my usual nap. So I didn't
okay,
have one this today, so that's why I can start feeling it a little bit. So I'm good, I'm good.
all right.
Um, so the best way to get hold of me probably is going to be through my LinkedIn account. So you just type in my name,
Yeah,
Marcus Morgan-Valentine. I'm the only Marcus Morgan-Valentine there is, as far as I'm aware.
yeah,
You see my picture come up as a black guy with locks, and you can see my detail as the explanation we had in the very beginning. Or you can go to Twitter as well. If you go to Marcus Morgan Valentine slash Total Blessings, that's me. And you'll see me come up with my nice sunflower and all the rest of it because I'm a sunflower guy. Yeah, yeah. All about hidden
okay.
disabilities. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm all for that. So that's probably the two best ways to contact me. And please know I'm not always on those links.
Mm,
So it might take a little while, but I will get back to you when I can. All right. And if I don't, just keep messaging me back again. Say I messaged you before. And if I
yeah,
can help, I will. If I can refer you on, then I will. If I can't help, I'll just say I can't.
yeah.
But I want to help where I can, but please don't tell everybody because
No, you
a lot of people,
please,
I'm already working with a lot of people already.
yeah, you're a secret. Let's keep
I
this.
really am. And again, this is not something I do as a paid gig. I don't do it as a paid gig at all. I do it just to be able to help. So that's why I haven't got resources galore. I
Yeah.
don't, because I just do this to help because that's what I'm about.
Okay.
So yeah,
Can I
let's
just
make it
say as
happen.
well, we started the show with Mary J. Blige, I'm Fine.
Come
What,
on, that's my track.
can you tell me about that? What does it do for you?
Oh my God! It's the fact he talks about when I walk across the mirror and what she can see, and that's what I do. I do think there's someone called Mel that you can see on YouTube. I've got loads of links to all those different people, but she's amazing. And she talks about high-fiving yourself in the mirror. It's
Yeah.
actually a really powerful tool that we can do. And I do it even this morning, just before I brush my teeth, I high-five myself and say, Marcus, you got this. And what it does, it sends endorphins to our body. There's something called I call it DOSE, DOSE. If you just type in to your
Yep.
Google link, D dot O.S.E speaks about the happiness chemicals that we have,
Yeah.
which is, the serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine, and all the rest and
Endorphins,
stuff,
yeah.
and endorphins. And, we can create those ourselves. There's things we can do within our body. We've also got the endocannabinoid system. I won't go into that. That's another story in regards to restoring health to our body and wellness and being able to heal from within. So there's different things that we can, really click into, if you like.
Okay.
So I make sure and do those all the time, all the
Okay.
time, all the
Wow.
time. There's so much there. There really is a lot out there. If you do the work, it can happen. It really can. And I promise you, as you was talking about what I want to do in the future, I'm writing a poetry book talking about hidden disabilities. I'm writing just a book about life, really, and stuff I've experienced as well, kind of like a self-help book as well, and particularly for people with disabilities, hidden disabilities, and those who've got comorbidities as well.
Can you give
I'm
us a
also
poem?
planning on writing a song.
Can you give us
Sorry?
a poem? Can you give us a poem?
Yeah, I was thinking if I'm going to share, I'm like really, I've never ever shared my poem online, like in public before. And
Okay.
I was going to do it today, and that's what I said to you. And now I'm really nervous to do it, so I don't think I'm going to do it. Can we do this another day?
Nervous. I want to hear the
Yeah.
extrovert read that poem.
Oh my God. And you
Tell
know
the
what?
introvert to sit
I
down.
realized I'm so naughty. I actually made sure I moved it from right next to the desk away so that I couldn't reach it, so I couldn't read it. Can you imagine?
That's
So I'm really
sabotage.
scared. But if you I know I sabotage myself. But if you really, 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 really want me to do it, then I can run into the bedroom and go and get it if you really want me to.
Do you want to do it? I don't want to put you on the spot, and
Oh,
I
I'll
don't.
do it. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Give me 2 minutes, play a song, like one of the other songs
Okay.
we arranged, and I'll be right back.
All right. Okay. Yes, yes. How long must our people be the human sacrifice? How long do we have to pay the price? Stand up, defend your rights. That's Buju Banton. That was another song that we chose, which is quite significant for Marcus and I, as we
Yeah.
are warriors, as we have come to serve the people, ourselves first, but and make those changes on earth. We have come to earth to do this work. We've volunteered, we've elected to be here. And so here we be, doing the work in so many different ways. Mr. Morgan-Valentine,
Oh,
your
wow.
poem, please.
Stand up, defend your rights. Well, I've never ever shared any of this poetry ever publicly before, and I'm a bit nervous. I'm never usually nervous about anything really, but I'm a bit nervous because this is so personal to me. This one, you can see the book, it's like really broken and really, I mean, it's been through a lot. I mean, I
Oh,
started this book, oh my God, in, oh wow, I'm afraid to even say, 2001.
wow. Okay.
So
Wow.
some time ago, really
Yeah.
was. And this one's called Caged. Every time I stretch out my hand to pick a rose, thorns and thistles prick my finger. But I persevere because I'm caged. Despite how they try to stop me, no matter how they try to block me, I see they loathe me. I'm caged. Like a bird with clipped wings, like all the beauty that sings, like Dr. Martin Luther King, he said, too, I'm caged because of my nature, due to my size. But though I'm caged, one day I'll rise up above them like the eagle above the terrible storm. No longer am I caged anymore. I stand as a man, black and strong, statue of ebony, long love poured out upon, but I will overcome despite what they say, because I found the one to help me. I found my way. No longer am I caged. I fly.
Oh my gosh. You are so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I wrote that
Uh,
in 2001.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've never
So
read it before to anybody.
that's just beautiful. Will you be publishing them anytime soon?
Yep. So that's part of the stuff I'll be publishing because the case part was about the fact that I didn't understand that I was fall all the time and that I'm a big guy and people don't understand that and I want to stretch and do things, but every time I was the stretching, picking my hand was saying that every time I would get into a deep level of emotion, I would collapse. That was the cataplexy. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I was talking about. Because at that time, remember, I wasn't diagnosed dyslexic. I wasn't diagnosed as narcoleptic or cataplectic or mild sleep apnea or any of the other disabilities at all. I didn't know what it was, so I described myself a cage because I tried to reach out and I couldn't quite connect with people. I couldn't quite get what I wanted to get or, make things happen the way I wanted to. People never understood me. I was misunderstood. I was judged. I was put into a cage. You're a
Yeah,
big black guy. What's the matter with you? You're fine. I'm like, but I'm trying to rise. I don't know why I can't. I
yeah.
didn't realize that I was under the weight of neurodiversity at the time. That I was neurodivergent. I didn't know that I was in need in regards to my own needs and wasn't able to have the narrative or the support or the language to be able to support and make the changes. But I'm doing it now, and I want to help other people do it too. Let's all rise and no longer be caged under the weight of our problems, but instead the greatness of who we are.
Wow. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I
Thank you.
know that the work that you've done, the work that you're doing, the experiences that you've had, and the experiences that other people will have that come to you, right, will just change lives. You will literally have the key to those cages and you'll be opening those doors and just
Good,
letting people be
good,
free in their
good.
own bodies, in their own lives,
In their minds too.
in their minds. And the thing is, it has a ripple effect because if you've got somebody in your family who's a bit kind of having
Different.
difficulties, it
Yeah,
affects everybody else, doesn't it?
100.
You know?
It's a ripple effect within our community that we need to change. We have to create new ripples. Those are ripples of change, ripples of difference, ripples of acceptance,
Yeah,
ripples of understanding, and ripples of new narrative. So we
yeah.
can make these changes. And that's what I want to do. So also next year, my plan is to do a TED talk
Oh,
about it. I
okay.
really just want to step out and make the change. So look out. Marcus Morgan-Valentine is here to stay and here to do what I've come to do, which is the work I've come to do on this earth. And with the help of you all, we'll make it happen as a community and make the change.
Beautiful. I'm so proud of you. I
Oh, thank
remember the
you.
day you were born, and I rejoice over your being.
Oh, I rejoice over you, my dear. I applaud
Okay,
thee.
okay, thank you. I am going to play us out with another Budja Banton song because we
Come
weren't
on now.
supposed to play that one.
Yep, yep.
Um, I'm so glad we did because these songs that we're playing now, it's all about the music. We are a special kind of people.
Come on, come on.
So beautiful. So I'm going to play this out. Marcus, will you join us again for another show?
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. If you all want me to be there, let Passion Radio know.
Okay, thank you.
And let me know, and then we'll do it again. We could. There's so much more to talk about. There's so much more to be said.
Yeah,
So
I'm
what
gonna.
you playing us out with? Oh my God! In the last few minutes.
Okay, maybe we are by Budja Banton. Okay,
Wow, wow,
take it
that's
away.
deep. Thank you.